Okay, welcome. We'll call this meeting to order. That's really loud. So if you would, please join me in a moment of silence and a pledge of the allegiance. Okay, we're on to the first item on our agenda. We're going to hear from Crossroads Church in the home repair camp for 2023.
It's green now, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll do this.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I'm Eric Lohe. I am we're
Do
good?
you want me to move it? or
Click
do you want to
those.
click
I can click them if you want.
Right.
Or you can click fast and then I'll be quick. Thank you. I'm Eric Lohe. I'm the lead pastor at Crossroads Church at Westfield. I wanted to give you an update on something that you had a significant part in this summer that changed a lot of lives in Westfield and in the northern part of Hamilton County. I'm from Crossroads Church at Westfield. It keeps going on its own. You put it, okay. Anyway, all right. That one. About 5 years ago, we've kind of focused our ministry here to know, enjoy, serve, and get to know our particular neighbors and to figure out what are the needs in this area for people. And so we started what we have 4 initiatives, which was to adopt Washington Woods to figure out what needs they have that were not already being provided by other groups. We're providing big, fun, free events for people just to come out and get to know each other. We have ways to meet the specific needs of people. At Washington Woods this past week, we gave away 125 pairs of athletic shoes just to help kids and families as they get back to school. This week, we gave away to 96 families pet food, probably over a ton of food to people in this community so that they can help kind of spread their resources. What I'm here to talk really about tonight is our 4th initiative, which is that every other year we seek to do home repairs for senior adults, for families who are struggling, and especially for veterans in this area. So this summer we completed 23 home repairs. We brought in over 200 high school kids for a week. Where do you house them? You all have been gracious now twice to house them at Westfield Middle School for the week in order that we can get the work done. We work with an organization out of Fort Collins, Colorado. They gather all of the students together. We are what we call a co-sponsor. You all have been partners with us in allowing them to come to this area. There's 18 of these home repair camps that go on during the summer, through this summer, and Westfield was one of the locations where we did these for folks. We had over 75 applications of folks. We were able to choose 23 with the number of students that we had to do them well. For that week that you house folks, they came from a variety of places as far as Nebraska, Maryland, Minnesota, and spent the week here in Westfield. And they felt greatly welcomed in a whole variety of different ways. We could not do this without you. Obviously, there's no place to house that many students. And so great thanks from all of the residents that we served, as well as all of the students and adults that were here. Again, you all went kind of above and beyond in going out and actually serving popsicles and taking out water. Paul and the food services group were just super. I understand Paul Shearer, is that how you pronounce his last name? Paul met one of the residents, went to his house, saw that he did not have any food in his refrigerator, and he stocked it for him. So you all are just awesome in doing that. I just want to spend the last little bit of time I have in showing you some of the people that we met and some of the repairs that we did. So this is Norman. Norman lives in the Housing Development Mobile Home Park straight across from the high school. And here's Norman's own words. Do I do that or?
Okay, my name is Norman. I live in Westfield. I am so appreciative of the work group being here. One, because I really needed it. I've tried to do work around here myself, and it's very hard in the condition I am in. And like I told them during lunch today, I tried to stay out of their way because over my years of working, I hated when people was over my back watching everything. But everything they are doing is looking fantastic so far, and they mean so much to me.
We put a seal coating on there, we painted his interior, and we did a lot of work on his deck outside. And Norman was incredibly appreciative. He's one of our Air Force veterans, which should be saluted and cared for. Just let me run through a couple of these. This is Lois. She lives in Noblesville. This is a room on her house that was literally kind of falling apart in places. And so it was fixed up, soffits done, roofing taken care of, and other parts of her house were also painted. This is James in northern part of Noblesville. He had a lot of leaks in his house. Wind was coming through in a variety of ways. The skirting on the bottom ended up being replaced. It was painted inside and out, and again, seal coating put on the top. Significant for him to be able to feel comfortable again and staying in his house. This is a gentleman named Mongo, lives up in northern Noblesville. You can kind of see those steps he couldn't really walk on those. They are pretty rotten. So we replaced all of those so Mongo could feel really, really comfortable getting inside and out of his house. It also, for Mongo, helps with his whole mental status of how he thinks about himself and his life. This was Parker's house in Noblesville. He has 3 young children. They continue to come out the back of the house and fall down those steps and get scraped a lot. And so his request was to have something that was a little bit safer where his kids could be and to walk. This is Hector. Hector lives in northern Noblesville. His outside of his house, his roof, his interior was really weathering a lot. And also his steps were were just not in good shape. And so this is what it looked like when we left at the end of the week. New seal coating on the top, there were no more leaks, and he had a good sturdy place to come in. This is Mona. Mona lives up in Sheridan. This is her room, and it just needed a lot of work. She wanted to be colorful and positive because she said, I struggle again with some depression, and I'd like it to be a good, happy place for me to go to. I wouldn't have chosen those colors, but Mona did, and she loved them greatly. And we did that in the rest of her house also. This is Terry, lives up in Sheridan. Her house needed a lot of work on the outside, and one of her requests was, she said, it would just make me feel so good to have a house that the wind didn't blow through, and actually it was painted really well. And so we asked, what did you want? And she said, I'd really like it to be painted black. So we did. Changed it completely, and her whole attitude about life and all seemed to change during the week. The last one I want to talk about is Barry and his family. There are 3 people who live in that mobile home in Arcadia who all have accessibility issues. Most of them are in wheelchairs, and they really had just, if you can see on the bottom right, just a kind of a slanted thing to get out. It was really, really unsafe. Barry said if I could have a wheelchair ramp, that would make life so much better. So, is it my click or? Okay. This is what was done.
I'll catch you, don't worry.
Go, Barry. Woo! Yay!
Barry is a veteran and deserves to be able to have safe access out of his house. So, thank you. Again, thank you for housing our folks, for being so kind. Your staff was in the middle school that served us. They were just so wonderful, caring, and encouraging, went way beyond to be able to welcome us and to have us there. So, thank you, thank you, thank you. leave that there. Okay.
Thank you for all that great work you did. Okay, this is the part of the agenda where we have the public comment, but did anybody sign up for a card? Nope, okay, all right, we'll move on. Okay, so we are moving on to our consent agenda. We have our normal items in the consent agenda, the board minutes, the accounts payable vouchers, the payroll vouchers, and the personnel report. Those reports have been distributed and reviewed. And so at this time, if there are no questions, I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
All right, can I get a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. Now, Chris has something to present to us.
Thank you, Mr. President and members of the board. I would like to introduce Marcy Dorado, our Director of the Early Learning Center, who would like to make an announcement of a new staff member this evening. If I could also make one more note, I just wanted to shout out to the HR staff. As we start the school year, we have hired over 100 teachers at this point, 100 new teachers, and over 200 and some total new staff. We've had the opportunity, the curriculum team did a great job with our new educator orientation. We also had over 250 instructional assistants in training today. Led by Dr. McGuire. It was very positive, and all of our non-certified office staff as well. So just want to say thanks to the HR team. It's a busy time, and they've done a lot of work, and we appreciate, I sure appreciate all that they've done.
Can I ask a quick question?
Yeah.
I always think comparing stats can be eye-opening for the community. So Chris, how does that compare to previous years? I think you said 100 new teachers, 200 new staff.
So overall staff were about the same. In terms of teachers, I think last year we had about 150, so a little bit less, but still, as opposed to other years, a high amount. Again, increasing enrollment leads to additional teachers. So as we grow, we continue to add, but we found some wonderful teachers to fill those positions and those positions. So it's very comparable, a little bit down from last year, but still a very busy hiring season for us if you would compare us to other school districts.
And it would probably be correct that you can always use sub-help.
Oh, yes. Anybody in the audience that is not currently working for us in some capacity, you can come sub. We can always use help. And we still have, just like always, we filled quite a bit of positions, but we still have instructional assistant positions that we are filling. We're getting out to our open houses, meet the teacher nights, ice cream socials, and making sure we reach out to the community to help with those too. We'll continue to look at some ways to advertise to fill those spots. That's our biggest need. Immediate need would be those instructional assistant positions. We're in a good spot compared to where we were last year, but we still need some of those positions.
Okay, well, thank you again for all the hard work. I know that's a tough time of the year, and I was not able to make it to the orientations this year. I made it last year and really enjoyed watching that, so thank you for doing all that. I think that's a big deal to get teachers up and running, especially new ones, and new IAs as well. So, okay, so I guess we are on to the Teacher Appreciation Grant, and again, it's Chris.
Yes, to the board. This is just the annual policy. You've seen this before. It's a regular update. The only revision was just updating the year. This is required by the state of Indiana so that our teachers are eligible for the Teacher Appreciation Grant. That grant normally comes out in December and is usually awarded to teachers in January. We do not, at this time, know what that amount will be, but this just gives you information as to how those grant funds will be allocated to our teachers. Again, the only change that has been made to this would be just updating it for the 2023-24 school year. This is, I know in policy, we normally have that come to you twice. Since there isn't much change to this, I would ask that if you would be willing to do that, if you could waive the second reading and go ahead and approve it tonight. I do submit this to the state just to make sure we have verification and that we're eligible for that. This will give me a little bit more time rather than waiting until September to get that turned into the Department of Education. So I just ask that you approve this policy as listed this evening with any questions.
Are there any other questions for Chris on this? Do we have to do anything special to waive the second reading, or we just go ahead and go for a motion to approve tonight? Okay, so I'll entertain a motion to approve the policy 8000-19 teacher appreciation grant as presented.
I make a motion to approve policy 8019 for teacher appreciation grant.
Can you get a second? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, done. All right, we'll move on to construction update with Victor Landfair.
Don't look, I'm going to go back to the start. Good evening, Board. Happy to have an opportunity to make our monthly report. I'm going to do this in order here. One more second. Okay, good evening. I'd like to make our monthly construction update for the Board. We'll start with the Monon Trail Softball Complex. As you know, we're just in the last leg of that project. As you know, we started the baseball field renovations later than the rest of the project, but we've made some good progress over the last 30 days. We finished the baseball dugout masonry, we finished the landscape mulch and the parking islands, and we started the backstops. Got a couple photographs for you. There's progress there on the dugout, baseball dugouts. You see the backstops, posts are going up, and there's of course the landscaping. Kind of an odd situation. That stone was difficult to get to. We finally did get that stone in place. There's an aerial view of the baseball field. So looking forward to finishing the backstops up and all the landscaping here this month. We're waiting for our specified planting window for the plants, and we'll be wrapping that up here by our next report. We still have some closeout items to take care of, but I'm confident we'll have a good balance for our contingency for the project. Cary Ridge, it's been a very productive summer for us at Cary Ridge. In the last month, we've finished the asphalt binder on the south bus lot, which is a component that we're, my trusty IT assistant is throwing me a curve here. So that was part of our plan there to work on get the bus lot in good shape for fall here. We did, as I mentioned in the last report, we finished our restroom accessories and a new reception desk. Was part of what I'm calling phase 2 of the interior renovations. And then on the new addition, excited to see that thing go three-dimensional with our roof trusses, started metal roof decking, interior wall framing, and door frames. Just as a point of reference, our plan was to do the restrooms in multiple phases. The pink restrooms, hard to believe how many restrooms there are in an elementary school. We took on the biggest portion of that this summer. You see the pink areas, which are the 3 large group student restrooms, as well as the classroom restrooms there to the left. We do have a few more that we've planned to do. Really, they're staff restrooms that'll be done over the school year, some in the fall break. Intend to do one of them at a time, and it'll just be a minor inconvenience for staff. But we have the restrooms for their students are complete. We just have some punch list items. I was telling Dr. Kaiser my goal is to get the majority of those done before we start school, but it will not interrupt the use of those restrooms. There's some photographs here. The large restrooms and the new finishes and the new fixtures and the interior restrooms that look very attractive. And there's the new reception desk that we were able to install this for this summer, already ready to go. As I mentioned, three-dimensionally, we are framed, both roof trusses and exterior walls, and majority of the decking is down. You see the last portion of the decking going down this week. I think these photographs are 2 days old. So, and then of course we're putting our exterior envelope, our sheathing up around the building, as well as starting to set door frames and continuing on our interior framing for the walls. Over the next 30 days, our hope is to complete our sanitary lateral main on the site. We had some exit tiles that were back ordered. I'm told they'll be here Friday, so we'll be taking care of that in the restrooms. We will be making our tie-in to the boiler. As you know, the new addition, we ran our piping from the new addition to the mechanical room this summer. We'll be making that connection to the boiler, obviously well ahead of when we need it for heat. And then we'll be finishing our metal decking. Our interior wall framing will continue. We'll be putting what's called a wall vapor barrier, so that watertight envelope around the walls. And we'll be starting to put our nail-based insulation to get shingles on. That's our getting that building envelope done before weather turns is obviously a major milestone for that project. As I mentioned last month, we've spent a sizable amount of money we plan to spend on the soil stabilization. So that number reflects the almost $250,000 that we spent on that investment. Again, we planned for that. We think it's a good investment for the stabilization and the longevity of your asphalt. So that reflects the utilization of those dollars. That's the end of my report. Happy to answer any questions.
Any questions? Okay, thank you.
Good.
Great job. Thank you.
See you next month.
Okay.
Thank you, Victor.
Next item on the agenda, the Hop Skip Drive Transportation Approval. Brian Michael.
Thank you. So, Hop, Skip, and Drive. This request really comes from Larry Johnson, Director of Transportation. So, to put it simply, Hop, Skip, and Drive is kind of like Uber for our McKinney-Vento students. So, students who live outside the district that are considered homeless fall under McKinney-Vento. We have to transport those students, regardless of where they live, back to the district. So oftentimes we currently have a few students that live downtown Indianapolis, south side, west side of the donut counties around us. So in order to transport under a liability side and then with driver's side, it has to be at a minimum in one of our mini buses if we do it as a school system. What that causes then is putting a driver to a bus for one child route, which we accomplish every year, but it also then removes a driver that could serve a fuller route in the district. So in utilizing Hop, Skip, Drive, it gives us the ability to basically hire out that service to transport the student in, be a little bit more efficient with our staff that we have on hand, especially when we're always dealing with driver shortages or just moving around and trying to be as efficient as possible as we can be during the route. So we'd appreciate approval of the contract on that piece. Happy to answer any questions. There is a fee to it that is outlined in the contract, but the cost compared to the cost of having an individual driver go pick up one student or two students, we feel is well worth it.
How long has this business been in business as far as doing this?
So I'm not for sure how long they've been in business. I can tell you they work with Warren Central and Noblesville already. So we are not the first school to sign up for this. We have had legal review it. We've had our insurance company review it as well. We did have a few pieces updated actually that were recommended by both attorneys and our liability insurance, just to make sure that, heaven forbid, something did happen, we would be appropriately covered as a district as well. So,
Brian, you mentioned McKinney-Vento, and could you maybe just give an overview of that program? Because I know you mentioned outside the district. And
so short synopsis, basically McKinney-Vento covers if a child is homeless and originally resided in your district and then moved outside of the district due to their homeless status, they are still allowed to maintain residency of sense to come to your district, regardless of where their new location is. So oftentimes for us that can result in a child moving well outside of our district, 30, 40 minutes outside of our district, but still legally required and able to come to our district, and we are legally bound to transport them to our district then at that point as well.
Brian, I just wanted to give appreciation to Larry for bringing this. I know it's a newer program, but the reviews that I was able to look at seem positive, and I know you said it's like Uber, and conceptually I agree with that, but the contract has, like, there's background checks, there's legal requirements. The person doesn't need a CDL, but they're not driving a bus. I mean, so, and then the cost of the service is much less really than we would pay our drivers. So from a perspective, taking care of the kid that need the service, but in a very fiscally responsible way. So appreciation to Larry for bringing this to the board.
Brian, I know you said Warren and then Noblesville. Based on their usage and maybe how it compares to ours, was Larry able to estimate like how much annually this would cost?
You know, it's really hard to estimate that just because we have no idea when a student's going to qualify and move or when that need comes. I believe currently we have 4 or 5 kids who qualify that we'd be utilizing the service for, but that could change to 1 tomorrow, it could change to 10 tomorrow. So it's hard to quantify that piece.
I think Jimmy, Kyle Miller kind of oversees that, or does oversee the student side for us. And as Brian said, it's it's just unpredictable, and the stories and situations where what we're trying to do is to ensure the child has that consistency of the education. And so Larry's team has been just so extremely responsive, but sometimes families get displaced. There's situations where they're in a home somewhere or a shelter, and we just respond. I think at this point now, with just the way labor is, right, this provides a consistency not only for Larry to get, keep normal operations running, but for us to keep kids in school, which is ultimately the goal. I think one of the things that we could probably do is, if you want to know more about McKinty-Vento, is have Kyle, something Kyle could share with you, and even just situations where it applies or examples of where we've responded. And I believe, behind the scenes have kept that school side for our kids and families intact without much disruption at all, when some of the other things are kind of really disrupted. So I kind of agree. It was a need out there. After I read the contract, I'm like, I should have thought of this. It's a great business model, I think, and so we're fortunate that we can take advantage of it.
Okay, well, I guess if there's no more questions, I'll entertain a motion to approve the Hop Skip Drive agreement as presented.
I'll make a motion to approve the Hop Skip Drive contract as presented.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, we're good, we're passed. All right, so the next item on the agenda is also Brian. It is the WPD pay increase for January 2024.
Yep. So as many of you know, we utilize Westville Police Department a lot of times before and after school for traffic or for game events or just other activities during the year. And within that, we pay them an hourly rate that is set by the city. So the city has increased that hourly rate from $55 an hour to $60 an hour. So we are just really officially asking the board to accept that new rate effective January 1 of 24. I think Chris and Mr. Hall can all attest to how fantastic of a partnership we have with WPD, and just look forward to maintaining that as we move forward.
Anybody have any questions for Brian?
Just more so seeking to understand, so I'm assuming there's probably state laws or something, but like it's a city rate based on if they get asked to do like hourly stuff outside of.
Yeah, so most of our hourly rate with WPD is really for traffic control. So if we're utilizing them outside of the SRO situation, and a lot of them actually are individual or officers who are WPD employees all the time and not SROs who just come on their off times and work for us. So it's really just an hourly rate to utilize a police officer outside of normal settings.
And that's just a couple hours in the morning, 2 or 3? In the afternoon, too.
morning and afternoon. Yeah,
Yeah,
they play a big part in obviously the movement of traffic here on the main campus. But then we've also utilized them in a couple of our elementary schools too. I believe Cary Ridge and Oak Trace to assist with just helping our buses and our patrons, our parents getting out during those busy times in the morning. So, yeah, the transportation flow would not happen if we didn't have the help of our
Right,
police
I've been stuck,
officers.
and they do a great job.
Yeah, they do a really good job.
Okay, well, I can't help but take the opportunity to thank the Westfield Police Department again. I know you already did, but I'll do it again for all, not just the traffic, but all the other great work that they do with us and for us. Okay, if there's no more questions, I'll entertain a motion to approve the WPD pay increase beginning January 1, 2024.
All right, I'll make a motion to approve the WPD pay increase beginning January 1, 2024 as presented.
Can I get a second?
Second?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, passed. All right, thank you, Brian. Hey, construction manager selection for Destination Westfield, Brian Tomomichael.
So last week, August 1st, we held our construction manager interviews in this room. Actually, there was 8 of us on our committee, as well as representation from Smith and CSO, our architects on all the projects coming up, who kind of helped guide us through some of that conversation. So through the process, it was a full day. Actually, Bill and Rebecca were part of that process as well. As we went through it, we had 9 proposals. We ended up interviewing 6 of the groups that came in. We did have some groups that we are currently working with on other projects present, as well as new groups that we have not currently worked with in the district recently. So the project breakdown is really, project 1 was our elementary schools, so Shamrock Springs Elementary, and then the new elementary school still to be named. Project 2 was Westfield Middle School, the new Westfield Middle School. And then project 3 was really the expansion of this early learning center on this site, as well as the new high school tennis courts. So those were kind of the 3 project areas to be bid through the process, and then a lot of discussion afterwards between the different fees from the groups, as well as kind of just an overall impression from, who was directly going to be working with us from each group, as well as how did we think they could deliver it on the project. We landed to where we are recommending that our elementary projects be completed by Garmong, our middle school projects be completed by Hagerman, and then the ELC expansion and tennis courts be completed by CORE. So these are 3 new construction managers that, as a district, we have not worked with before. They do have plenty of references that we've talked through, or different groups and many local that they've constructed projects for. Actually, today we toured Plainfield Middle School, that I believe was actually built by Garmong, or worked on by Hagerman, as well as we went through that. So a lot of good experience as we work through it. Happy to welcome them on board. It was a really good process, pretty extensive as we went through it, and ready to hit the ground running as well. So happy to answer any questions. We have representatives from each firm out in the audience as well, who I know would be more than happy to meet all of you afterwards, and introduce themselves as we go through it. So happy to answer any questions.
Brian, I'm sorry, did you say have we worked with any of them before?
We have not directly, no.
All right, do we, were we going to hear from them, or we're just going to pass? Okay, so I will entertain, are there any other questions for Brian? Let me ask that. I have no questions because I was there during the process, so.
Yeah, I just wanted to say thanks for inviting us to attend that day of presentation, and to all the contractors that submitted. Obviously, the 3 we picked, we felt did the best job in those areas, but we had cream of the crop to choose from, and I feel confident that our district is going to continue to look beautiful as a result of these contractors being selected. So thanks.
Yeah, as always, thanks for the process. I know
Yep.
doing these selections is very difficult and time-consuming, but good news is we get to do that, and we'll probably do a lot more of it, so that's okay. Okay, I'll entertain a motion to approve utilizing Garmong, Hagerman, and CORE as construction managers as presented.
Make a motion to approve utilizing Gomong, Hagerman, and CORE as construction managers as presented.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, passed. Thank you. Thank you again. Thank you for everybody who responded, and welcome aboard. Okay. Next item is similar but different. Again, Brian is going to tell us about the design build process, slightly different and different for us.
Yep, so this will be the first time we've used the design build process. I can tell you, Dr. Atha and Dr. Kaiser both have a lot of experience with design build. Dr. Kaiser utilized it a lot, actually back even when I was at Beech Grove, we utilized it as well. So as we work through it, there's legally nothing the board's required to do tonight. However, being a new process and there are different steps to this process, we wanted to kind of briefly outline what we'll be working through in the next several months, very similar to the RFP process, but slightly different, and then ask the board permission to move through that process. So design build, a lot of the construction process are pretty similar. What's different with design build is that your architect and your construction manager are really the same firm as we move forward. Also, Dr. Kaiser and I've had a lot of discussions around it, feel that they're a very well-versed process for when we're looking at renovations and remodels. So when we look at the future of Destination Westfield and the approval of knowing we're going to have 2 new elementary schools, a new middle school, and the expansion for even early learning and the reconfiguration of our grades, brings the remodels that will need to happen at what is currently Westfield Intermediate School and Westfield Middle School. So with those, that's where we'd be looking to utilize the design build method. So with that process, we have to hire a design criteria developer. Really, this individual helps kind of run what is the RFP process for design build. So we will be looking to do that shortly, appoint technical review committee, which is very similar to basically a committee which we have during the RFP process to the interviews that we just did as well. Issue qualifications, and then have proposal requests and interviews as well. So very similar process, just different legal steps we have to walk through. So, Dr. Kaiser, I don't know if you have anything you want to add of being through this multiple times as well.
No, I would just say all the processes are really good. I've had the chance back in Noblesville when I was in Brian's position and Mike's position combined. We did a construction project pretty much year-round going on there. So it really has come out of the, started many years ago with a change in the law. And it works well, especially for renovations and that type, because of the idea that, the change orders, if they do not, the company we select, if there's something that is there that they should have found and there's a change order, it's on them, not us. Again, as we said in our work session, we may have some design change orders, but if it's something they miss, and that's up to them to address that. And it's a very collaborative process, just like the other methods. Once we select the company, they will work hand in hand with our 2 architectural firms in construction management from aligning. For example, we are at Plainfield Middle School today, so when we select this person, we'll kind of connect them with CSO, so we're looking at similar programs. So a lot of work to be done, just a different method to do it. And we want to get started as soon as possible because the middle school is a maze all-in-one in itself. And for those that don't know, it was the high school and middle school separate, and we joined them, and now we need to continue to update them for the program that Dr. Atha and our middle school team is going to come up with moving forward. It's always a program before the construction, so we have a lot of work to do to get all these projects moving forward. But again, my experience over the last 13 years, it's worked well for us. So we're going to move in that direction on this project only. Then we'll decide others moving forward. I would say is continue to use both types of methods in our future projects. So we're not switching to this. It's just something we're going to use for this project. There might be other projects down the road that fit this, and while we're currently using the project we have, the method we have right now. So.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, I'm sure we'll be a lot more discussion over the next however many years about these different processes. So, but anyway, I'll entertain a motion to approve the, what's that?
Sorry, I was late on the button there.
Okay.
Dr. Kaiser, so over your years of experience, can you say how often this method is utilized with school districts, and maybe a little bit about the philosophy of what this method can be useful for?
I think, I can't remember the exact year of the law that changed with this, but, you'll see a lot of schools throughout the state using this. Avon, where John was, they used it. Again, at Beech Grove, where I was at, we used it from that standpoint. So it's a little bit different, the fact that you have the architect and the construction manager are one. So the articulation is just rock solid. There's no finger pointing going on because it's one firm that's doing it all. So I think that's a huge advantage. You're not, well, they didn't get this done or they didn't get that done. Best example, when I went to Monrovia, I took over superintendent a long time ago. In 2005, there were 13 subcontractors, and they were all pointing fingers. Because you had a construction manager, you had an architect, and you had this. This really streamlines it. So that's probably the biggest advantage, I think. And again, once this process is done, they'll be able to come on board and work side by side with Anne Marie, with Schmidt, and then also with Brent at CSO, so that we're designing and aligning. Again, all the methods work. I've said once, I've said 100 times, it all comes down to the guy or the gal in the trailer. If that person on site is good, the project's going to go well. And what's good about this, like all the companies, we can work with them and try and make sure we get the right person there. So that stands up. But a lot of schools are doing it. Warsaw, again, Avon, their new middle school's being done this way. At least, in fact, that's already been solidified. And there's others throughout the state.
Okay. All right, I'll entertain a motion to approve the design-build timeline as presented.
I'll make a motion to approve the design-build timeline as presented.
Can we get a second? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, passed. All right, we'll move on to the next item. And again, Brian Tomomichael with interactive display presentation and purchase approval.
So this one's a little bit curriculum, a little bit business, like everything we do. So a brief snippet before Linda gets started on her piece. If you remember earlier in the year, we issued the 2023 BGO bonds. Part of that is about $10.5 million GO bond. Part of that was to purchase the second half of property out on Centennial and 32. And then we had some dollars set aside to begin kind of moving our entire district to a common technology platform across the board. So that's what Linda's going to talk on, but as she speaks, just so you know, that is where it's going to be funded out of as well. So.
Good evening. Thank you so much for letting me come in and talk to you about our classroom tech refresh. How this all started was we did an audit of all of our classrooms and the technology currently in those rooms, and what we found is we had a wide variety of different platforms and different products, some working better than others, and it was very clear to us it was probably time to refresh all the technology in the classroom. So we moved on to creating a technology committee. The committee is made up of one teacher per building, and we met once a month to discuss kind of best practices with technology, looking at different types of technology, really focused on what is going to truly impact and support student learning when it comes to technology integration. So our process with researching is we kind of looked at pros and cons of different devices. We had some vendors come in and run some demos of different devices. And then we took that information and we created a day of what we called the Technology Playground Demo. And we invited teachers across the district to come in and try the technology out for themselves. So it's kind of hard in this picture, but we had 4 flat panels and an audio system on hand. And then we also had the vendor reps for those flat panels there. They did little demos, they answered teacher questions. And then following that day, we collected feedback from our teachers. We definitely collected the feedback from our committee, who also surveyed their staff members. We looked at the feedback from the technology demo, and then we invited all teachers to participate through email. We went into buildings and invited them to come talk with us. And the overall recommendation was kind of unanimous across the board. Every teacher who was able to try out the boards really liked the ViewSonic interactive flat panel the best. It has the most interactivity type features that will really engage our learners and kind of turn them from more passive learning to active learning. So our recommendation is that every classroom receive a ViewSonic interactive flat panel along with an audio system. That audio system will have speakers in the ceiling. The teacher will wear a microphone, so no matter where that student is in the classroom, they will be able to hear their teacher clearly. The audio system is also plugged into the ViewSonic panel, so when the teacher plays any type of audio through the ViewSonic, again, no matter where that student is sitting, they will be able to clearly hear what is going on in the classroom. Our art classrooms requested that instead of a panel, because of all the materials they use in the art room like clay and so forth, if they could have a 4K projector instead, and so we did make that change. This is a 2-year phase, so year 1 will start soon, and we're going to start at the high school installing the panels and audio system, followed by the middle school. And then year 2 will start in January 2024, where we will start then with the intermediate school, followed by our 6 elementary schools. We are going to utilize second shift crews. It's a 2-man crew, in pairs, I should say, and each 2-man crew can do 1 classroom a day. So we're going to start with 2 sets, so we'll get 2 classrooms a day to kind of work the bugs out, and then we will ramp that up, maybe even as much as 4 classrooms a day or 6 classrooms a day. For professional development, we are offering PD for teachers every single Wednesday during all teacher preps throughout the entire installation process. So teachers will be invited to come prior to getting their panel and again after getting their panel, because they'll learn about it, get it, and then probably have questions, right? Like, wait a minute, how do I do that again? So that will be consistent Wednesday all year long. In addition, we are a team of 5. They would prefer, they can sign up to meet with us individually or in small groups like MPLCs, and we can do that at their request as well. We did create a teacher staff fax so that we would keep the communication lines open with all of our teachers. And so if they have any questions, they know they can go there, but they also know they are welcome to email our team. We're happy to answer any questions they have. And you can kind of see the interactive panels right there. They will be mounted, not on wheels, but you can kind of see what they look like there. Are there any questions?
Linda, I have a kind of a question. So 2 years ago, you were the instructional technology
Just
integration
me.
team. So
9 buildings.
talk to the board and our people in the audience, how as adding now the others for this year, talk about the impact that it had last year with 3 of you and what you foresee the impact with now having a group of 5.
So as the lone technology integration specialist, and especially during the time of COVID, where everyone was scrambling to be able to churn their lessons digitally, it was difficult with 9 buildings, a lot of teachers. So last year we were able to grow the team to 3 and made a huge difference. We were able to get into so many more buildings, help so many more teachers. But again, 3 people and 9 buildings, we still weren't able to accomplish all the goals we had set for ourselves. So this year we are extremely excited to have 5 members of our team. And with 5, we were able to set up dedicated TIS members for each building so that they know exactly who their support person is. They can build those relationships. They're seeing that person, throughout the day or throughout the week. So we're super excited about what that will show this year and how many teachers and students that we can reach.
Well, would you tell us who those people are and where they're assigned?
I will. So we have 2 new members, so I'll start with them. Shelley Knapp is coming to us from Plainfield High School. She was a AP English teacher for 13 years, and she is going to be the dedicated high school technology specialist. And then at the middle and intermediate school, we have Samantha Wilsker. She's been here in Westfield for 13 years, I don't know, a long time. Coming from Monon, most recently, she was a 4th grade teacher. She also spent some time as a innovation specialist, and so she will be in the intermediate and middle school. And then we have Christian Horner, sitting right there. He is an AP physics teacher and fell in love with elementary kiddos last year, so he is going to be in Cary Ridge Maple Glen and Oak Trace Elementary School. Kristen Morris, coming to us from Monon Trail, was a K-1 teacher and also some special education experience. She is going to be at Monon Trail, Washington Woods, and Cary Ridge. And then I'm kind of the team lead, so I'm going to be K-12 support wherever they need me. I'll also be in charge of all K-12 software, Canvas, our classroom tech refresh, and all district PD.
Linda, can you, all of our rooms will have this kind of technology, which is really neat. Do you believe it's fair to say, that the TVs will be used every day and it'll be part of the regular work for the teachers?
Yes, so the nice thing about the panels are they are full PC computers. So while it might seem scary for a teacher to transition from a desktop to this, it's actually no difference. It's just a desktop with a really big screen. So they already technically know how to run it, right? Because if you can run a computer, you can run this. The PD is going to come into all the extra features it has. So when I say a teacher's going to use it every day, they will, because that is their PC computer. But it's those extra features that will really transform learning in the classroom. And those are the features that slowly but surely we will get all the teachers up and running with. Mm-hmm.
I do want to just acknowledge the TIS team, especially in the summertime and start of school, with 3 new resources that we're implementing. Christian has been working with with the publishers, and we have to get accounts for all our teachers. We have integration into Canvas, into Google, and just everything that they do. So we have online resources, and we have traditional, workbook, hardback resources. And so we're really busy right now, or they're really busy. And so I just want to give them a shout out because they are so positive, and there's no situation that they don't approach that there's a solution to, and we can get this taken care of. And the calming effect on our teachers right now when they intervene is amazing. And I would say that's the same with the implementation of these touchscreen TVs. At first it could seem overwhelming, but as the team talks to teachers, they understand that this will just become a natural part of the pedagogy in the classroom and the learning that takes place. So I just want to give them a shout out. They work behind the scenes and have built relationships, and they take on things that people don't even know that they're doing.
And I'm going to add to that, working with John and Linda and the team, consensus building is not easy. And, we could have come in and said, hey, 2 years ago, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. But it's been a 2-year process to get us here. And it's just a lot of hard work and input and just the hours and hours just on the walkthroughs, deciding where to put them. But the one thing I really want the board and the community to understand, talk about the impact of the speaker system on those auditory learners. Either one of you is a classroom teacher, and how that impacts that student in the classroom. Because I think, it's great to have all the bells and whistles, but when it comes down to really learning, I think having done this in my previous school, that the impact on the microphone system, I think, is tremendous for our kids.
So there are some teachers that when they get up and they start talking, the closest kid to them can hear them. And the nice thing about having a microphone that's right in front of you that you're going to wear is twofold. One of them is your kids can hear you now, but more importantly, I don't have to scream anymore to get their attention. Not that I would scream, because we have all kinds of great ways of getting kids' attention, but there's times when they're everywhere and a simple isn't heard. So having this is going to be phenomenal. It's going to save teachers' voices. It's going to make them happier people. But more importantly, our kids are going to be able to hear. And that's the big thing, is a kid that cannot hear cannot learn. And so we're really making sure that goes through. A lot of states have already mandated that these are in every single classroom. So we're actually ahead of the game here a little bit. And I think that's going to be phenomenal too.
I will, just on, you know, the consistency piece of, you know, each month when I visit classrooms, over the last couple of years, there's inconsistent technology, right? And even the systems we have in ceiling speakers, but then we have some speakers that sit over here that are amplified, and then the majority of rooms don't have speakers. And so I will talk to, especially in the primary grades that have that sound system in the ceiling, it is night and day for me. In there sitting on the carpet with a kindergarten, first grade, and that teacher just talking, and the sound just covers the whole room. And the kids' engagement in that dialogue versus not having that, and maybe kids being off task. And then just the consistency in technology. Our teachers, when this is finished, will be able to go into any classroom, and the technology, whether it's the microphone or the touchscreen, will be consistent. They will simply log in, their desktop and the Google will come up, and they're ready to go. So especially at the high school, where as we grow and we've designed that building to have collaborative space, this is just kind of the finishing touch to that. And then I don't want to understate, obviously, we can talk about all this, but if you know, Brian had not been able to align the resources to make this happen, right? That's the beauty of all of this as we grow and the commitment. And I think as we were doing this, that was probably the biggest concern, right? Is we're going to try to do this, but will we be able to make it work financially? And so I just want to, I know there's a lot of work that goes into that behind the scenes. So just thank you to the business department, to Dr. Kaiser, for making that work and making a commitment, but then also to the team for making it happen.
And the teachers are excited, so on behalf of the teachers, we also thank you.
And I think the kids will be excited too, because these boards go all the way to the floor. So you can have your kindergarten kids, which we have some teachers do, to take attendance, they press on a little cactus and the cactus runs away. And then they come back later, they press and hold the cactus and drag to what they want for lunch. And it tells the teacher immediately what the lunch count is, but more importantly, the kids get to interact with it. You can split it up into 4 quadrants, and you can have kids go up and they can do a math race if they want to, or they can each draw a picture of what they learned. So it'll be really great once we have them all done.
It's not just a teacher device. It's very interactive, whether the student is at the board interacting with it or interacting with the board through their own individual device. It's very student-centered and interactive, so we're excited.
And it will impact instruction, and it will impact learning. And on a side note, there is some research out that I've read in the past. It actually helps the health of the teacher because of their vocal cords, and you know, when they wear down, you're more likely to, again, I don't want to go too much medical doctor here, but you know, it does actually help the health because they don't have to raise their voice. It is a great classroom management process, you know, by using this. So again, we put this in the majority of my schools previously, just tremendous impact. Number one things, teachers have to turn it off when they go to the restroom.
Yeah.
So.
We only make that mistake once, so after that, we don't forget.
Okay, that all sounds good. I love it. Any other questions?
So I think John's favorite line for me usually during the year is give me a cost and we'll figure it out. So the cost, just so you know, it's, as Linda said, 2-year implementation. So this first year for middle school and high school is just over $2.4 million. Remember that is 6th grade, so it's roughly half of our classrooms across the district. And then next year when we do elementary, we expect it to be in that same ballpark, probably a little bit more because there's usually more classrooms on the elementary side. So that'd be initial, and as we said in the beginning, be paid out of the GO bond that we did earlier this year.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion to approve the ViewSonic purchase agreement and installation as presented.
I'll make a motion to approve the agreement for the ViewSonic purchase and installation as presented.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. Well, thank you again, guys, for presenting that. I love all that stuff. I do feel like that's going to make a long-term impact, and they'll just get bigger and better as the years goes on. So someday it'll just be like the whole wall or something. Who knows? But thank you. Okay, next item on the agenda, the Indiana Online Academy contract approval. Dr. John Atha.
Thank you, Mr. Anderson, members of the board. As you're aware, we have partnered with Indiana Online Academy for the last several years to provide services to our students, both for summer school and then sometimes just whatever unique situations might happen. I might need to pick up a course here and there for a credit, or I might have a situation where because of health reasons or some other, I might need to step away from in-person school. And so that contract that we have with them is kind of fluid because it's based on the number of students that use it. And the majority of that cost that we have is for summer school. And if you looked at the invoice, we had 2,667, it says students, but that could be the same students' courses for just this summer school, and at $210 a course. There's no way that we could do that in-house for that cost, or could we staff it and make it work? And so it's an opportunity for us to partner with them and provide extra resources and educations to our students. I know my son took a PE course this summer through Indiana Online, took 2 last summer. And so this part is reimbursed. This is something, again, that's kind of the curriculum business department. So in the fall, the state will have, Brian will have to complete, or his team will have to complete the summer school report. And then based on how many districts complete that report and the dollars earmarked, we'll get either a % of that back. Sometimes it's, as you noted there, sometimes, I think last year maybe it was 105, or was last year a bad year?
Last year was a terrible year. Last year was like 68%.
Yeah.
2 years ago was 105 though.
Yeah.
So the state budget every year allots a set number for the budget or the appropriations for summer school. So it's really based on needs. So what we saw 2 years ago, which was during our COVID year, and we operated as we normally did, nobody really offered summer school. So there was a great reimbursement because you had a lot less need or request for those dollars. The year coming back, everyone had summer school. So you had a huge request on the same budget number. So we saw a lot less. So this year I would expect we're going to get higher because we're kind of down out of that, and you can't request state dollars and utilize ESSER dollars. So hopefully there's a little bit less request because we do not have those ESSER dollars to utilize like other districts. But also this year's a little different. We expanded summer school for the first time in a long time. Traditionally, we've only used IOA. This year we've also offered some remediation courses for our elementary kids as well that we can turn in for summer school as well. So we'll just have to wait and see as it goes. But traditionally, as John said, it ranges from 60 to 105. We expect somewhere around 70-ish this year. So
the hope though is if you follow, a lot of times it goes like this, because if you have a bad year, then the next year not as many districts offer it, because what the state doesn't cover, obviously, we'll have to cover. And so, but still, even at this rate for summer school, you can't beat it, right? And I do want to, we did, again, for the first time, offer across the district at Monon Trail. Lindsay Michael organized it, and we had kiddos come in and get in-person instruction in our primary grades. We identified those at the building level and sent out invitations. So very appreciative of that effort, but we also feel like that it's a jump start, so we're hoping we set those kids up for some success headed back into school on Thursday. So this is just an opportunity where we're, extending learning to our students throughout the year and to our families. And if they take advantage of it, we think it's important that we have that available for them.
Yeah, I'm familiar with it as well. For the summer courses, it allows kids to take more elective courses during the year, so they seem to really like it. So yeah, that's a great program. Okay, so I will entertain a motion to approve the 2023-2024 contract with Indiana Online Academy as presented.
Make a motion to approve the 2023-2024 contract with Indiana Online Academy as presented.
Can I get a second? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Okay, passes. Very good. Okay, we're getting down to the end of the agenda, and we are ready for, we got one more item, sorry. Curriculum update.
I'll be quick as as the board knows, but just want to recognize that last week we had a PLC Leadership Summit where we had around 160 educators spend the day, again, getting organized for what they need to do to lead collaborative teams and then to prepare for our students to return. So just a shout out for that. And then, we're working on getting curriculum materials up and running. Just a reminder, new math series, K through 8, science, K through 12, and then social studies, really K through 8 pockets. Some places stayed the same. So we're pretty busy right now, but just really excited about what our curriculum team has done and our collaborative team leaders and really our teachers in preparing for the school year. So we're looking for a great school year. We are going to, as Ryan has said, just remind everybody to do some program evaluation. But the top thing we're going to put forward is we're going to go ahead and push forward our English language arts review and probably do an early adoption just because we have so much inconsistency. And we want to build some consensus and then provide our teachers with consistent resources across the district. So that's what's coming up next. So what we did in math this year, we're going to be doing in reading, English language arts. Or this past year, we'll do it this year.
Okay, well,
So
very
thank
good.
you.
Nothing to pass here, but thank you for all the hard work, and thank everybody that works on our curriculum for all the hard work. Obviously, we've got a strong curriculum here. Okay, we're getting down to the end here. The communications update with Josh.
Thank you very much. I'd like to start off by saying I hope that you guys have seen the back to school video that Sean and Bailey have created. I think it's an excellent video and it's the right mood and the right tone that we want to set heading into the school year, especially after on the back of the extremely successful Rock the Block event. That's exactly how we want to get the school year started, is positivity in person, positivity on social media, and hopefully we can continue right into school. So I just wanted to give them a shout out for the great work that they do. There'll be more shout outs for them too as we get through this. Shamrock Academy, the first session is a week from today. Normally it's on Thursday, but it was supposed to be on this Thursday and slipped my mind. It's the first day of school, and who wants to have Shamrock Academy on that day? So if any of you want invitations, or I can send an invitation to all of you, and you can show up if you want. It'll be right here from 9 to 12 on Tuesday. I'll send that invitation out. I wanted to highlight one thing that myself and Lindsay Michael are working on. It's to promote the Ball State University apprenticeship program. We're going to be doing an interview for Lindsay. She's going to promote that program that we have here with on their video. Their video people are going to come here. We're going to go to, I think, Monon Trail or Oak Trace, put her in a classroom setting and have her extol the virtues of the apprenticeship program. And I think that should be a pretty good thing to, once that's all done, it'll be great to get that in front of our community so they can see exactly what's going to be happening or what opportunities will be available through that program once it's ready to kick off. This past weekend, right after Rock the Block, Rock's Media House team woke up bright and early and did Fall Sports Media Day, and I think it went off very well. I'm excited to see what the photos are going to look like. The students themselves, I think that it's already become a thing where people look forward to doing it, and the kids kind of come ready to go, and they have their poses and their friends picked out, and it's a great thing. And I think we made a couple of additions to the experience on our end to make it easier for the students to know where to get the photos or to get them as soon as they come out. And you can look forward to seeing that content very soon for Fall Sports Media Day. Speaking of sports content, Sean and Bailey will be working with the athletic departments to help put more Rocks content on the football screen. So they might be making a hype video to play before the games, possibly even getting some kind of like 3 to 5 second videos to play after. If the quarterback makes a big play, maybe the big quarterback video type of thing, just to bring the fans more into the the fan experience. I might have just put them on the spot because they haven't really said they're going to do it yet, but we're going to have the meetings, and I think we're all ready to go. The rebranding, as you can see all around us right now, phase 1 is like 99.999% complete. We're just going to get the final words back to the designer, and she'll kick us back with the first guidelines. We're going to start making sure that everyone has them. And then we're going to embark on to phase 2, which is mostly sports related. Andy Tebby and Doug Luce gave a lot of different assets that they would like to use, and they would use if they had access to. So we're going to start working on those, and the athletic script or the certain athletic fonts or certain things that the football team would like to use, just to be able to continue to make our branding consistent with a district standpoint, but also within the sports standpoint. And sports branding is pretty fun, so I think I'm ready to dig into that. One more thing that I'm going to put the cart before the horse with me, Sean, and Bailey is we have a plan to work this year our goal is to live stream every elementary school musical performance. And we're gonna use that as kind of the test to make sure that it can be done, and see how the 3 of us, maybe actually the 4 of us, can cover things, use that as the pilot program, and then see what it will take to scale it up. Because obviously there's so many things in our district that we can't be everywhere, we can't have everything going, but we think that to start off, we can do every elementary school musical program and have that live streamed. And we'll let everyone know in advance when it's going. We'll promote the live stream in advance. We'll let the teachers and the students know. But I think that's a great way to get it going. And then after this year, maybe halfway through, we'll kind of re-evaluate what we can do and see how we can make it more efficient. And lastly, Brian, Dr. Kaiser, and I are working on the Destination Westfield community presentation. That should be done by the end of this week, and we might dry run it for our own central office on Monday, and then it'll be ready to kind of do the rounds of whoever, if anyone out there in an organization wants to hear about the plans for Destination Westfield, what it's going to look like 5-10 years from now, or even next year. We'll have that presentation ready to go, and anyone is welcome to have Dr. Kaiser over for some cookies and lemonade. That's all I have. Thank you very much.
Okay, next item on the agenda is success stories. I want to go first because everybody takes my thing.
You're the board president. You're the board president. You can decide that.
The amount of emails he sends about all the positive things, like, yeah.
Well, I thought somebody would take Rock the Block. You can still talk about Rock the Block, but I think it was tremendous success, so thanks everybody involved. That was awesome. My favorite part was the farm animals. It was fantastic. And then, yes, FFA had a tremendous display, and I hung out with the farm animals. It was wonderful, and I got to meet Dr. Kaiser's grandchild and his daughter. That was fantastic. But you know what I did miss was Dr. Kaiser in the OTIP this year. I was a little disappointed, but it's all right. I guess we're going to watch a video. Okay. Okay. Success stories.
Yeah, I just want to go back to the presentation at the beginning by Eric. So I served with him on the chamber board for a few years, and I think he was probably overly complimentary in his compliments to us as a board. I would probably compliment the staff more that helped take care of them so much. You know, when you come on the school board, obviously there's a lot of things we have to learn about the operations of the district, and I think one of the neat things is just how big of a part we play in community building outside of the K through 12 experience, whether it's, you know, hosting Eric's group over the summer, or what is it, Laugh It Off that he does in the fall, and then the work we collaborate on with Westfield Youth Sports, and you know, I know there's tons of other organizations that I'm probably not aware of or forgetting, but I just think that's really cool, the part we can play in you know, in those partnerships. And I think a big shout out just to the staff. I mean, as you all heard it tonight, there's so much going on with new projects, whether it's building or curriculum or adding new technology. I mean, I don't know how you guys are doing it, but man, it takes a village, and I think you all have a big enough village, but if you need more, I guess that's where you come to us, right? So, yeah, thanks for all you guys are doing.
And Foundation and her team, I would say Westfield 4-H'ers all over the state of Indiana in all different counties, not just Hamilton, were everywhere and highlighted in by Josh and his team in the the Blast. There you go. And then I'm really excited about Here Comes the Bus app actually going to work. So hopefully come Thursday, everyone's address is loaded in the system and everyone can find.
So I tell you, they did do a trial run with summer school, so I think it's going to be a slow rollout, but it is going to be up and running here very, very soon. So I believe certain routes will have it for the start of school, make sure there's no issues, and then full rollout soon after.
Okay, got it.
And I'll add to that, it's up and will be available, but what I want to tell parents, you know, it's going to change a little bit, the route will change. So once the system is up and running, it should be running, but you got to kind of keep track of it because we might be changing routes, and Larry's team will communicate that. But for summer school, as Brian said, for both phases of summer school, it was up and it was working on that small group. So we're excited. For those that don't know, you can get on your phone and you can know that the bus, where it's coming. So that'll become very impactful on cold days.
Cold, wet, rainy days.
Yeah, so
that's awesome. I love seeing all the new logos everywhere. And I'm excited for Thursday, first day of school for our kiddos. And Friday night is the first football jamboree game against Ben Davis and Carmel. So come out to the stadium, 7 o'clock.
Mike?
We talk about community a lot. Sorry about that. For those that haven't read the paper lately, the Sanders Glen bus got T-boned. Put on its side, there's about 7 to 11 elderly people on there. Westfield did a great job, fire department, police department, and with so many patients, a lot of them were walking wounded. They didn't necessarily need to go by the resources of an ambulance, so they called the schools, and I want to give Larry and Mark, the bus driver, kudos. They showed up and transported 6 or 8 of the patients over to St. Vincent's 86th Street, and everybody is good and healthy and back at Sanders Glen and ready to go back to Walmart. So thank you, the community and everything else for working together.
All right, Rebecca?
My annual request, if we know the capstone winners from last year, we've got these students that graduated last May, but we never know if they are capstone success stories or not. And as they go off to college, just wish everybody a good start to school, but especially these kids, they're the pride of our district in many ways.
Rebecca, can you mention, like, I'm trying to remember, like, the requirements for that? Like, it's just, yeah, what do they have to do? 'Cause, I mean, I feel like it's pretty amazing, right? Like,
John should be able to fill in on those details.
So I was pulling up the numbers. So the capstone diploma is they have to do a research project and present that, and so and also have so many AP credits. Okay, so we had the final number, 34 students graduated with the AP capstone diploma. I do want, we had 130 AP scholars in the class, 64 were AP scholars with honors, 106 AP scholars with distinction, the 34 capstones, and we did have 8 students get the AP seminar and research certificate. Yes, so I'll send out to the board just what each one of those, what you have to do. Some of those are number of AP credits that students earned, but a great year by our students. The summary was we had a total of 300 scholars who had an average GPA of 3.71, or average, score on the test is 3.71, not GPA. So the test is 1 to 5. You get a college credit for a 3, 4, or 5. So our average score on all the tests was 3.71. So that, right there is, if you think about that, 300 college credits or something like that, or
It's a lot.
yeah.
All right,
So-
Dr. Kaiser?
Again, a lot of accolades going out this evening. A week ago Friday, Dr. Athan and I were at the band performance, which was fabulous. Now, they're just putting their show together, but wow, the choreography and just watching the kids go through their warm-up, which you don't normally see on a Friday night,
Right.
and how they do it. But it was really good. And because of that, as we start thinking about Destination Westfield, one of our future projects will be a larger band room. But it was great to see that and see what the kids are doing. They're just like the athletic teams. They work all summer off. They take a week off here and there, and they'll be in competition soon from that standpoint. I guess I want to compliment Ashley and Josh and our Rocks Media team. I just think over the last 2 years, we've just done some really wonderful things. We meet as a team, Josh, myself, Ashley, and our 2 amigos in the back. We meet every Monday at 10:30, and I think you're going to see even more direct communication going out. As we think that's real critical. We talk about success stories. There's so many that are taking place all over our districts, and it's just exciting. And again, Bill, thank you for taking as Josh and Ashley, we get those into the newspaper, you take them and send them out, and you're kind of the watcher of that. But it's just, a great time to be here and a great time to see all the success stories. And again, as Jimmy said, we're more than just a school. We're the key part of this community and everything that we do, and we're the foundation of this. Communities were formed on public education, and there's no better place to go or to be than right here and to be a Rock. So it's just a great team, and we're going to continue to move forward and do exciting things for our kids. So, thanks to everybody.
All right, thank you, guys. Next meeting, same time, same place, September 12th, 6:30.